There's a lot of wrestling happening this weekend, so I'm going to start off with the women's Money in the Bank match. I am a little uncertain as to who I think should win this. So we've got newcomers like Tiffany Stratton and Lyra Valkyria, but we've also got someone like Chelsea Green who would just be absolutely incredible with the Money in the Bank contract. I think Chelsea Green would just be so fun as Miss Money in the Bank. But I also think that maybe they want to kickstart a career. So maybe just by having Tiffany Stratton win the Money in the Bank and then win her first title off of Money in the Bank would be really, really good. She would also be really, really fun as Miss Money in the Bank. I think immediately she would actually just go off and get a pink briefcase to brand the Money in the Bank briefcase as her own. But then that would also lead into her storyline with Nia Jax, because let's just say Nia actually beats Bailey at SummerSlam, because Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton have a weird kind of friendship or alliance going on at the moment. So it would be interesting to see if she would actually be able to cash in on Nia. I think Tiffany Stratton is a really good solid pick for this, but I would love to see Chelsea Green with Money in the Bank. I think it would be so fun. I think I'm actually going with Tiffany Stratton here. I think that they're gonna build her up, have her win the briefcase, and then possibly only cash it in after Mania next year. I really think they should either give it to Tiffany Stratton or Chelsea Green, but I think it's going to Tiffany Stratton. So now we're going into the big 6-man tag team match, which is the Bloodline versus Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, and Kevin Owens. This match feels like it's leading to something else. It feels like we're either getting a Randy Orton heel turn so that we can get Randy versus Cody coming up, probably at SummerSlam, which would be a really nice big SummerSlam match. Or we're getting Solo Sikoa versus Cody Rhodes, which is the match I don't really want, but because it's leading to Roman Reigns coming back. I think the heel turn should happen actually. Randy versus Cody just feels so good, especially for a SummerSlam match. I'm actually just going to go with the faces winning. I'm actually going to go with Cody pinning Tama Tonga to keep Solo Sikoa strong, and then Randy Orton turns on Cody after the match. Because I think in Randy's head, it's more important to get rid of the Bloodline, and once he thinks he's gotten rid of them, then he can turn on Cody and go after the title. My picks to win this match is actually going to be Cody Rhodes, Kevin Owens, and Randy Orton, with a Randy heel turn happening after the match. This is actually the only match that I'm confident about on this card, and it's Bron Breakker versus Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental Championship. Bron Breakker has to win here. I think give Bron Breakker the push that he deserves. Let him be this crazy dominant champion. I don't see Sami retaining the title. I really don't see Sami retaining the title here. So I see Bron Breakker as this massive, awesome heel dominating champion, which is what I really like about the Intercontinental title anyway. So my pick to win this match is Bron Breakker. The men's Money in the Bank match, there's pretty much only one person in this whole match that I am certain is not winning Money in the Bank, and it's Andrade. I don't think he's winning Money in the Bank right now, and part of me feels like because I've said that, it's probably going to be him that wins. But LA Knight, very good chance of winning Money in the Bank. Think he'll be really fun as Mr. Money in the Bank because, well, yeah. Drew McIntyre is a complete frontrunner purely just because he already said he's going to cash in on the same night and become World Heavyweight Champion. And I think that that's absolutely perfect. I think it's perfect. I just want to see Drew get a win, man. Like, this guy has been fighting for so long. But also CM Punk will probably cost him Money in the Bank. And then we have Jey Uso, and Jey Uso is probably everyone's favorite going into this Money in the Bank match. I think that it will be really interesting to see how Jey would actually cash in. I don't know how Jey will be as a world champion, which is why I'm not sure if they're going to give him Money in the Bank right now. Because I also don't want Jey to win Money in the Bank and then lose it or fail at his cash in. The person I really, really, really want to see win Money in the Bank is actually Chad Gable. Now, I know that we don't really see Chad Gable as World Heavyweight Championship material, purely just because he's been floating in the mid-card for so long. But considering how well that guy does in the ring, and now it feels like he's finally just found his character, I actually want to see Chad Gable win singles gold, and I actually want to see him win Money in the Bank. I just want to see Chad Gable win because he called himself Master in the Bank. And it sounds like it's going to be really fun seeing Chad Gable in backstage skits with a whiteboard going, is this the right time to cash in Money in the Bank? I think that's going to be really fun. And then there's also Carmelo Hayes. And for me, it feels like Carmelo Hayes is a safe pick purely just because this will probably freaking push Carmelo Hayes to the moon if he has Money in the Bank. And we all know that Carmelo Hayes is so good with a world title. I mean, Carmelo in NXT as NXT champion was absolutely freaking perfect. You see, there's so many compelling stories going into Money in the Bank. Firstly, I just think that CM Punk is going to be the person that cost Drew McIntyre his Money in the Bank briefcase. That's the first thing. Chad Gable will probably have the Wyatt Six after him, which means that Chad Gable will probably not win Money in the Bank because there could be some spooky things that happen, and the Wyatt Six is very, very intriguing right now. I mean, Bo Dallas and Uncle Howdy are doing some incredible things with those VHS tapes, and it's absolutely awesome just seeing a glimpse into what they're actually thinking. And I love that they're targeting Chad Gable. The whole idea of someone betraying their family and that's why they're going after certain people just makes so much sense. I'm glad that they took their time going into the story because there was no other way to do Bray Wyatt justice. So I think they're costing Chad Gable Money in the Bank. And then that leaves me with two options. Well, two big options, I guess. So Jey Uso, I still don't know if he should win LA Knight. So, okay, me picking Tiffany Stratton means that the briefcase should probably go to Raw on the men's side, which means Jey Uso is my pick to win Money in the Bank. I kind of talked myself back into it, but yeah, I think Jey Uso's winning Money in the Bank. And finally, Damian Priest versus Seth freaking Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship. So I think that Damian Priest is actually losing here. My thinking here is that they have a gentleman's agreement as well. So if Seth wins, Damian's out of Judgment Day. If Damian wins, Seth can never challenge for the World Heavyweight Championship as long as Damian is champion. Seth Rollins has to win. I'll tell you why. So the reason I think Damian Priest is losing is because I think Seth Rollins versus Gunther is the bigger match at SummerSlam. So you would want Gunther versus Seth Rollins, and beating Seth Rollins is like a surefire, definite way of making Gunther your next big star. In all honesty, it needs to happen. I think we need to see Seth versus Gunther at SummerSlam. I know. Judgment Day, their storyline doesn't make sense to have Finn versus Damian if it doesn't have the World Heavyweight Championship involved. I get that. But, I don't know, it feels like Damian needs to leave the Judgment Day, firstly. It definitely feels like that needs to happen now. Just because of his whole mindset changing, the whole idea of Finn Balor saying that since he won the title, he's changed. We've got the whole Liv Morgan thing happening in the background. Not really in the background, it's more like the Finn Damian thing is happening in the background. And we've got Rhea Ripley possibly returning very, very, very soon. Either Damian leaves and the story is Rhea trying to get Damian to come back into the Judgment Day, or you go straight into Finn versus Damian. But like I said, that story doesn't feel like it makes sense without the World Heavyweight Championship in play. I don't know where Judgment Day goes from this, but I think Seth Rollins is winning the World Heavyweight Championship. And I know it feels like Damian is a transitional champion then, or just a placeholder or a seat warmer for Seth Rollins because Seth needed to go and he needed to recover from some injuries. But I don't know, just Damian hasn't gotten the opportunity to be the champion that we know he can be, or be the champion that he should be. If Damian does win, it does solidify him as a champion. Beating Seth Rollins does really make you a star. But I don't know, it feels like the big match at SummerSlam should be Gunther versus Seth. I'm going with Seth Rollins to win the World Heavyweight Championship. It makes sense right now. So we're not actually done there. That's the Money in the Bank card. But we're moving on to NXT Heatwave. So this is basically NXT's version of Night of Champions because every single title is on the line aside from the Heritage Cup in this pay-per-view. So I'm starting off with Nathan Frazer and Axiom versus Chase U for the Tag Team Championships. To be honest, I think that Chase U are going to win this. I think that Nathan Frazer is just very focused on other things, which will lead to Axiom versus Nathan Frazer. And man, that match is going to be so good. But then we also have Chase U and the whole Ridge Holland story. Riley Osborne doesn't trust Ridge Holland, and Chase U only won tag team turmoil because Riley Osborne wasn't there, so Ridge Holland went to ringside with them, and Ridge Holland helped them win. Andre Chase told Ridge Holland to stay away. I know that. But I think Ridge Holland is going to end up at Heatwave anyway, and he's going to help them win. And Andre isn't going to know about it. Thea's not going to know about it. It might only be Riley Osborne, Duke Hudson, and Ridge Holland that actually know why they're tag team champions. I think that's going to be a really interesting concept. And it also frees up Nathan Frazer and Axiom to work on WWE speed, to have a rivalry, or for Nathan Frazer to go to SmackDown, because I think he'll be a great addition to SmackDown. Chase U are winning the tag team championships. The match that I am definitely not looking forward to, Kelani Jordan versus Ruca for the Women's North American Championship. Kelani Jordan, again, she also hasn't had time to shine as a champion, but I also think that Ruca or Lash Legend should have won the title here. I just think that she needs a lot of work in terms of her personality. She doesn't really have much of a character. She really just needs to improve on the mic. A lot of people in NXT needs to improve on the mic. We saw that, and I'll get to that later. I don't know. I think that maybe Kelani needs more time to build as a champion. So, yeah, I don't really care about this match, to be honest. And so I'm just going to go with Kelani Jordan retaining. But the Soul Snatcher is probably one of the best finishers in WWE right now. Speaking of people improving on the mic, Lola Vice versus Roxanne Perez for the NXT Women's Championship. So I've noticed that on NXT, a lot of the NXT stars struggle to adapt when things don't really go the way that they're supposed to go. Lola Vice being... Okay, I'm actually just going to go through this promo because I didn't really have time in my 60-second review to really just flesh out exactly how I feel about this. So, yes, I said that I don't like that promo. I don't like that promo. And it's purely just because it feels like it's too soon. It feels like they should have built up to something like this. The first time when she came out, and they had that whole big scuffle with JC Jane and Jasmine Nix and Metaphor, and Lola looked at the title after they'd stood tall. In that promo, Lola should have said, I need to win the NXT title for my mom. There, you hinted it. Done. Okay? Second time, she attacks Roxanne. She needs to say something like, I've worked too hard or I've sacrificed too much to not win this title. Fine. Cool. Done. And then you can go into this emotional, over-dramatic promo of her. And I get that this is raw emotion because she's bringing her real-life journey and her real-life story into a kayfabe storyline. Get that. I get the emotion of doing this for someone that you love, someone that you care about, and having those real feelings being put into a storyline. I get that. But this is not the way to do it. It just, like I said, if she had built up to it, firstly, she wouldn't have been as emotional here because she's already kind of stated that this is why she's doing it. So she wouldn't have been as emotional. Secondly, it just feels like it's too much too soon because this is a side of her character that we've never seen. She has been presented as this badass that no one can touch for the last 3 to 6 months. And now all of a sudden she's this emotional wreck because this is the first time that they're allowing her to express these type of emotions. And I get it. You're trying to make her relatable as a babyface. I get that. This does not work for Lola Vice because she has never been presented this way. Had they hinted at it before, had they kind of given us some sort of indication that this is where her character was going, it would make a lot more sense. She would be a lot less emotional. But this girl freaking broke down in this promo. And Roxanne didn't know how to deal with it, so she fumbled on things. She forgot a few things. She took a moment of silence for a second. Like, I think Roxanne, all things considered, recovered pretty well. Personally, I actually wouldn't even have had Lola bring that up in this feud. I think maybe she should have, like, if she wins the title, you bring it up after the title, after you win the title. NXT next week, you go on that emotional journey with her after she wins the title. Cool, fine. Because after she wins the title, she's a babyface and she gets to have that emotional connection with the crowd. Say pretty much what Kelani Jordan did, but with a more emotional story. That could have worked out so much better. That being said, she's not ready to have the title now. She's not ready to have the title now because she doesn't have the mic skills to carry out a promo. And in my opinion, I think Roxanne needs to retain. I don't see Lola as a formidable champion. Not right now. I think Roxanne should retain the title. My pick is Roxanne to keep the title for now. Random theory, and I just came up with this. What if Chelsea Green wins Money in the Bank on Saturday, and instead of cashing in on the main roster, she cashes in on Roxanne Perez on Sunday at Heatwave? I think that would be pretty cool. The NXT North American Championship, Obafemi defends his title against Wesley. To be honest, I just want to see Obafemi freaking dominate as the North American champion, and that's pretty much all I'm going to say. They kind of have a gentleman's agreement in the same way. I want Wesley to move on and do other things because he has been chasing that North American title for a really long time. I'm going with Obafemi to retain the North American Championship. And finally, a match that I'm very unsure about. Trick Williams defends the NXT Championship against Ethan Page, Shawn Spears, and Javon Evans in a fatal four-way match. Firstly, that contract signing was meh. The faces just stood tall as normal, which makes me think that Shawn Spears or Ethan Page is winning the title. Now, I'd love to see Ethan Page as champion, but I'd also love to see Shawn Spears finally get gold in NXT. I've been waiting so long to see Ty Dillinger finally hold gold, and it's been a long time coming. But I don't know if in this current gimmick, he has the presence to be NXT champion. One person who definitely has presence and is a really good heel for people to for a babyface to chase is Ethan Page. So I'm very unsure, but I don't think Trick Williams is retaining the title here. As good as Trick has been as champion, I don't see him retaining the title here. I think it should go to Ethan Page or to Shawn Spears. My heart is saying Shawn Spears, but my head is saying Ethan Page is the best choice as NXT champion right now. I am going with Ethan Page to win the NXT championship. It sounds crazy, but I'm going with Ethan Page to win the NXT championship. Let me know your thoughts and your predictions down in the comments below. Thank you so much for sticking with this video. Please do all of that good YouTube stuff. Give this video a like. Share it with your friends. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And as always, be mindful and be kind.